Welcome to Sports Hub STL. I'm Stefan Caray, joined by Matthew Rocchio. What a fun night for St. Louisans. They're having a blast. The Blues are rolling. The Cardinals end up winning the series against the New York Mets. They snapped a 9-game losing streak against the Metropolitans in Game 1 of the doubleheader. But Game 2 is what we're going to talk about here on the Cards Hub postgame show, which is brought to you by Hot Shots. Hot Shots is St. Louis's home for all the games all the time since 1990. Find yours at hotshotsnet.com. And, of course, all content here provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Rocchio, I think the story tonight is, of course, Michael McGreevy. You cannot avoid talking about this young starting pitcher that comes in out of the bullpen, bases loaded in the fifth inning, and really held down the fourth the rest of the way.
Yeah, helps him get the doubleheader sweep, which was precarious. They jump out to the early lead with Alec Burleson. That home run is a big thing. I know they were talking about the lack of home runs from Alec Burleson. Of course, he does it when he's playing in the field and he's not in the DH spot because something is cursed about the Cardinals in the DH spot this season. But yeah, Michael McGreevy helps them settle in after Palante really struggled on the back end. So just a huge, huge night for him. He was dominant, and I know there's a lot of Cardinals fans out there who will be patting themselves on the back for how much they were calling for Michael McGreevy from the start of the season, and just to watch him go in there and completely mow down the New York Mets, settle that one, and then let the defense and some special plays take over. That was a special night for Michael McGreevy, and his young career keeps on rolling.
And it was especially important for the Cardinals, to see that they could use two pitchers in this Game 2 of the doubleheader. They still have 3 more games before their next off day against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it's great to see the Cardinals saving their bullpen a bit and trusting Michael McGreevy to go the distance. Few figures for you here. Michael McGreevy in his major league career now 4-0 with a 1.57 ERA. I think that's enough of a sample size, right around 30 innings at the big league level, that this guy has what it takes to be a starter in the major leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. And just comparing him to Andre Palante, who just, he was struggling the entire day. He's putting guys on like crazy. And, he's the young pitcher who really blossomed for the Cardinals over the last year and a half. And so just to get that dichotomy live in the day was very interesting. And so to see him settle in and just, we've seen a lot of pitchers come in and maybe guys like Graceffo who, are that classic Cardinals pitcher we've seen, over the last 30 years where it's, they're going to allow the base runners, but they're going to let the defense do its work. And obviously McGreevy had some big defensive plays, but when he got guys out, I mean, just look at the Alonso at bat right there in the ninth. He goes down 0-2 in the count, and then he just roars back, or 2-0 in the count, excuse me. And then he roars back and just gets Alonso in 3 straight pitches. I mean, that's special kind of stuff that, is the stuff that makes you project a guy to be a number one in a rotation. And considering where the Cardinals are at right now, that kind of special lockdown stuff as a starter, that's something they need right now. That's something that when you talk about this being a year with runway and building towards the future, Michael McGreevy's the future.
He absolutely is. And in a game like this, you had very little room to make mistakes. The Cardinals played excellent defense. Victor Scott robbing Soto a 3-run home run with Palante on the mound. That was one of the biggest plays of the game. Then Scott gives them the 5-4 lead with a double to the gap in right center. I mean, this is a player that's really coming into his own. Now at 286 for his batting average, he's playing spectacular defense in center. He is blossoming before our eyes. And suddenly, these young Cardinals are showing everybody that this could be a team to be reckoned with in the future.
Yeah. How about the jumping play to rob Soto? Soto gets robbed twice, once by VS2 out in center field, and then you got Nolan Arenado taking out a family to take away one of his foul balls. So not the night for Juan Soto, definitely the night for the Cardinals defense. Arenado made multiple highlight reel defensive plays in the back half of the game. Again, the big one from Victor Scott, and you combine that with his hit, like you said, that gave them the lead. Just everything's flowers for the Cardinals after a game like this. Obviously, we know where they're at. They're sitting 3 games below 500 for a reason. There's still plenty of pockmarks, but Wilson Contreras is getting back. Again, that's a huge, huge home run from Alec Burleson. It was a great Sunday.
It was a great Sunday and has a chance to be even better if the Blues can hang on against the Winnipeg Jets. We are waiting with bated breath to see how that one finishes out. This Mets series was important for the Cardinals in a number of ways, not just winning yet another series at home, but it proves to you that you can contend with the best and you can beat the best if you play up to the standard that you expect. Now, a few downsides. Mason Wynn had to leave the game with a left ankle sprain. That is something that is certainly concerning, and we'll ask the question, what do the Cardinals do to replace him? Do they stick with Jose Barrero? Does Thomas Saggese come back from Memphis at a more expanded role? What happens now with Michael McGreevy? I mean, there are so many good problems that the Cardinals have, but one of them is not the fact that Mason Wynn has to leave because of a sprained ankle. I mean, how much do you think that's going to affect them over the coming days?
Yeah, that's problematic. Obviously, having Barrero up, kind of solves the problem before you have to do anything. And also, maybe it simplifies things because I think there's going to be a pinch with Ivan Herrera coming back to the roster, and maybe the struggles of a guy like Alec Burleson was going to make that a kind of a simple decision. And now if Burleson's going to be hitting home runs, well, okay, Mason Wynn goes to the 10-day IL. Now we get a space for Ivan Herrera, and we get to kick the can down the road on making that decision for now, and we'll see what we have to do with who's playing well if anyone else catches an injury. So it's unfortunate, but it might kind of work out in a way where it slots in nicely with them having to make a decision on Herrera.
This is the Cards Hub post-game show brought to you by Hot Shots. We want to remind you, keep hammering the viewers, keep hammering the likes to this video and subscribe to the YouTube page and participate in our YouTube chat. I'm Stefan Caray. That's Matthew Rocchio. And another reminder is that Hot Shots are really our title sponsor here for the post-game show, but we have a big event coming. We invite you out to the St. Charles location on Sunday the June 1st to celebrate their 35th anniversary. The fun starts at noon with a parking lot party featuring the Budweiser Clydesdales. Prizes will be given away all day. There's a dart tournament at noon, a bags tournament at 2, plus a chance to win Hot Shots tacos for a year. So we congratulate Hot Shots for 35 years. Hot Shots, St. Louis's home for all the games all the time since 1990. Find yours at hotshots.net. So that'll be a whole lot of fun to see.
Oh, that's going to be a blast. I mean, it's a taco eating contest where the prize is more tacos. It's the best. They know how to promote things here. They know what they're doing. And we're trying to get a morning show side bet with me, Brooke, and Randy on tacos as well. So it's going to be a good time next month.
Well, I wonder who could eat the most tacos in the Sports Hub STL family. I don't know if Joe Roderick has enough time. I don't know if Dave Green has enough time. Ethan Hannaford, he's close enough removed from college, so I think he's got a good chance.
I like that. It's unfortunately, I think it's Joe because the thing is Joe's a big guy, but he runs marathons. So he's got that like combination where his body wants the caloric intake and he is kind of a big guy. Whereas me, I'm fairly lazy and don't exercise as much as I should. And so I actually don't eat that much. It's just all sitting there every day and not getting, worked on. And so I think my favorite would be Joe Roderick. I mean, he also loves food more than everybody else. He does, food tasting things with like special menu items with fast food. I think Joe Roderick's going to have us all beat. It's going to be a little bit rough, but it's going to be fun. And that's the bottom line.
Well, he's probably carbo loading for one of those marathons. Another thing I want to come back and touch on, Matthew, looking at the box score here, you talked about Alec Burleson having that home run. We mentioned it on the pregame show before we started this doubleheader. This was his first extra base hit since April 9th. I mean, this has been a long time coming. You've seen him get underneath the baseball time and time again. It felt like such a good moment and a weight off of his chest. We hope that he can begin to explode.
Yeah, long time coming. Like Sam Cooke, the change is going to eventually come. And that's the thing with Alec Burleson. I was thinking in the moment, there was a man on. It was a big moment. I was thinking as he steps up, what if he just snaps out of it with all the conversations we've been having about his struggles? And then he just smacks that one. Just a perfect time for him. It was a huge hit. Everything's been problematic. They still can't get the big hit out of the DH spot. I don't know how they go over on homers from the DH spot. I know Contreras got an RBI there. Just still over from the home run spot in the earlier post-game show, or it might have been the pregame show actually from game one. B-Shafe and Ethan were talking about that, or was it you and Ethan? Was it you and Ethan who was talking about this? I don't remember who it was at this point. Who were talking about that the way that some players actually historically hit better when they're in the lineup and not just DHing, because they lock in the entire game. And so when he hits that, of course, I was like, wait, double check the lineup. Is he at DH or in the field? Of course, Alec Burleson is in the field. So first home run for Alec Burleson. Unfortunately, the DH spot still struggling as well. Just a big moment for the offense. He was supposed to be a big hitter for them when you look at spring. And obviously, I know things are different. And going into spring, I think if we had to guess, the Cardinals probably were more willing to lean on Nolan Gorman for those big moments. But Gorman struggled. Burleson just forced their hand. Then he immediately can't hit out of the gate. And so that was a struggle to watch him after last year's season because he broke out. So, on a personal level, I love seeing it. And from a Cardinals level, considering Jordan Walker right now isn't working out, and that's another thing that I want to get to because he had another struggling game. Getting any young hitter to hit for power right now, it's all gravy.
Well, Walker made one of the biggest defensive plays in this game. It was the sinking liner in right in the fifth inning with the bases loaded. He doesn't make that catch. The Mets probably blow the game wide open, and that helped out Michael McGreevy a bit. But
his defense has been great. His defense has been fantastic. But he goes down with a pretty surrender at bat in a pretty clutch area. Drops below 200 for his at bat on the season, or his batting average on the season. Just it's not what you want to see from a guy who needs to be a fourth, fifth, sixth worst case hitter, sixth place hitter for you in the future.
I agree. Well, this comment is interesting to me from Bad Mike. What Michael McGreevy just did, and you can't let him be in the rotation, then I throw my hands up with this team and say they don't care about winning. Well, they talked about this on the broadcast a little bit, and Michael McGreevy's the consummate professional. He understands that there is a business side of things that needs to be addressed, right? Miles Mikolas is getting paid. Steven Matz is getting paid. Sonny Gray is getting paid. Eric Fedde, yes, he has a very team-friendly contract that he signed with the White Sox, but they're all getting paid. And unless somebody's willing to take on that contract, Michael McGreevy is in a tough spot, no matter how much he deserves it. I don't think even Ollie Marmol or John Mozeliak or Chaim Bloom would argue that Michael McGreevy deserves to be here, considering what he did tonight, what he did in spring training, what he did last year. But sometimes you're blocked. And when that moment comes that he's finally here in St. Louis, it's going to be a great time for this rotation.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the great work that Brendan Schaefer did on Sports Hub STL earlier this week after another great Miles Mikolas start. Had Miles Mikolas duplicated what happened in Boston another time within the next 2 or 3 starts afterwards, maybe they might have pulled the trigger. Maybe they would have said, this is a drastic thing. Michael McGreevy's rolling. Maybe we got to pull a trigger here. I doubt they would have, but maybe they would have. The bottom line is that's not what happened. And so it's hard to argue that they should have been pulling the trigger considering the quality they were getting from everybody in the starting lineup. This is for almost every statistic, and whether it's basic or advanced, they were a top 6 rotation the last time I checked about at the start of the week on Monday or Tuesday. Almost every single stat, top 6 rotation. So who are you bumping out? Who are you throwing out if you're the Cardinals? And let's just put it at and sure, fine. Call them out for not doing it out of spring training. If that's your opinion, I don't know if there's anything we can say to you that's going to move you from that take that you're angry about that. But just being logical, just put yourself in the Cardinals' position at any point in the month of April. Who are you getting rid of? Who are you benching? Who are you taking out of that rotation and either wasting money that that you're spending in a Miles Mikolas, or not giving it innings to a guy, and I know Stefan doesn't like to hear when I say this, but guys who you might be on the trading block and who could be important keys if you want to go that way in July, in Eric Fetty and Steven Matz. That's just not smart management of a baseball team.
So this is a really interesting conversation that we've been having pretty much all year long. Is Michael McGreevy ready to be in the major league rotation? I think that question has been answered time and time again. Do the Cardinals have space for him? Well, after a performance like this, they might have to make space for him. But an even more important conversation here, of course, all of our content is provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours, is that baseball season is officially underway, and it's time to step up to the plate with DraftKings Pick 6. Think of DraftKings Pick 6 as your fastball right down the middle. It's the easiest way to play for cash and take a shot at a big win. Just select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Pick 6 is available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Missouri, and more. Cash in your baseball knowledge. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. You want to download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits, better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. So,
gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
This is the Card Hub post-game show brought to you by Hot Shots on Sports Hub STL, powered by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Stefan Caray, Matthew Rocchio. Only a little bit of time left. The Blues game is running out of time, and we know that is top priority in St. Louis tonight. Let's talk a little bit about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big game for the Cardinals. Carmen Mlodzinski will face Miles Mikolas. Miles Mikolas has been sensational for St. Louis in his last few starts. He hasn't allowed a run in his last 2. He's carrying a 2.14 ERA over his last 4 starts, I should say, and has a 2.9 ERA career against Pittsburgh. So I'm excited to see what he can turn out against a Pirates team that's really struggling. A good chance for the Cardinals to get closer and closer to 500.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really negative though, unfortunately, just because I'm gonna go to my DraftKings Pick 6 app. And they don't have the play up, I don't think, for the Cardinals tomorrow yet. But whatever the play on Miles Mikolas is, innings pitched, I'm going to take it less because I really do appreciate Miles Mikolas. I just don't think that the numbers bear out that he's going to be able to keep doing this at the level he's been doing it. And so back-to-back shutouts, he might not get blown up. Miles Mikolas, it's not going to be a shutout. I think we're barreling towards a game where he goes 5 2/3 and allows 3 earned runs. Unfortunately, just because the numbers tell us that's what might be happening. One thing is also Ray points out Mikolas has allowed 0 home runs in 29 innings. That is so completely away from and out in left field, the stratosphere, Jupiter, from his usual numbers, that it's almost he has to give up a home run soon. And so I think that might be coming, and that's why I'm a little iffy. So I'm going to go on the DraftKings Pick 6 app. I'm going to hedge this Miles Mikolas roll and hope I'm wrong in this case.
You're going to try and jinx it. You're going to reverse jinx him. I love it. A man advocating for Miles Mikolas out on the mound tomorrow. And Busch Stadium, a great place to pitch. He's been great and has been phenomenal outside of that one start against the Red Sox. So maybe he's turning a corner. Maybe he's turning over a new leaf. I trust that Miles Mikolas is going to have a big performance against Carmen Mlodzinski, who, again, was a reliever, converted to a starter, really hasn't found his footing. 6.58 ERAs, 1-3. And has yet to go more than 5 innings in any start this season. So the Cardinals have a chance to get into the Pirates bullpen early and really make them hurt. If you can win game 1, you have a good chance of winning the series. And if you find a way to sweep the Pirates, well, guess what? You're back at 500 and it's a whole new season.
Yep. And just a little update for everybody. Minute 20, Jets scored. Breathe, everybody. 80 seconds. Breathe. We're gonna try to get you through it talking a little baseball. Can you keep your mind off it right now? We're gonna keep talking a little baseball because if we don't keep talking baseball, I might crack. Tuesday, we see Skeens again. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but at this point, with the record for Paul Skeens against the Cardinals, it's a thing. So do you think, and Matthew Liberatore's on the mound for the Cardinals, do you think the Cardinals can keep rolling against Paul Skeens against all odds? I mean, there's no way they win, that Miles Michaelis shoves and they beat Paul Skeens again. The odds of that have to be minute.
Here's the thing is when I was in the minor leagues, our hitting coach said one thing: hitting is timing, and their timing has been great against Skeens in the 3 or 4 times they've faced him. And confidence is a big thing here. You face a guy like Paul Skeens, who has been anointed as one of the next great ones out of the starting pitchers in this era of baseball. The Cardinals aren't fazed by that. They have played really good baseball. They've found their pitch. They've timed up the heater. They've waited on the splinter. They've been just such a great team against Skeens that he hasn't quite figured out. And there are a lot of trends like that. There are a lot of pitchers who struggle against one team in particular. Boy, would it be great knowing that Paul Skeens is going to be under Pittsburgh control for a while, that the Cardinals maybe have figured him out a bit. I'm sure he's going to come out with an extra bit of vengeance against the Cardinals this start a couple days from now. But I think maybe it'll be part of a doubleheader, as Allison Crable says. Hey, can we play doubleheaders all year? Seems like we're doing well with them. Back-to-back doubleheader sweeps. So just have the rain come out for a little bit and let the Cardinals do what they've been doing really well and sweep in doubleheaders.
I love doubleheaders. There's just something. Let's play 2. There's just something about that, man. I freaking love it. There's doubleheaders are so fantastic.
I think they are. They are. I mean, as a Twin myself, I'm a big fan of the twin bill. So we've got to get more doubleheaders for the Cardinals, and rain delays aren't that much fun. Especially when it's on a Saturday night, you want to be sitting down watching baseball, hanging out with your friends. But you got hockey tonight. You got the Cardinals sweeping the doubleheader. I see some glare in the background. Do you have the Blues on your TV in front of you? You looking up?
No. If we're gonna talk Blues, I'll admit my record in Blues games in person is very bad this year, so I'm not allowed to go to Blues games. And whenever I watch them, they seem to get scored on. So I watch the Blues games after the fact on a rewatch, so I can do my job. But I'm not trying to jinx anything, so I'm not watching the game right now. I'm just kind of keeping it the score bug where I can see it, so I can just make sure. When we got to wrap everything's here for work purposes, because apparently they might have tied things up. God, this is. I'm freaking out over here, Stefan. I'm completely freaking out right now. Your thoughts, Stefan, overall from a series win and the doubleheader sweep. I know it was 2 tough games today. 2 1-run wins. At some point this season, I think the Cardinals were like 1-6 in 1-run games. So to win 2 in the same day. That's kind of like winning two on the road like they did the other night. Just pretty good overall.
I think I love to see how they've been performing at home. They're going to continue to perform well at home. And you play half your games here, you win the majority of them, you're going to be at least around 500 if you play decent baseball on the road. So we'll see how the schedule goes for the Cardinals after this. I know they have the Pirates for 3. Then after that, do you have the schedule handy for the Cardinals?
I actually have it right here in front of me right now. Thank you so much for giving me something else to do. You are a true gentleman and a scholar on that one. So, yeah, they have the 3 against Pittsburgh, and then they go on the road for a potentially grueling 9-game run at the Nationals, at the Phillies, and then at the Royals.
Okay. All right. So the Phillies have been playing great at home. Citizens Bank, tough place to win. But the Royals and the Nationals, those are 2 really, really tough teams that have been put on the ledger for the Cardinals. And Allison keeping us updated. No goal, still 3-2. And talk hockey, cowards. I don't know if they know what my last name is, but my family's only really capable of talking about one thing. So I'll leave the hockey to the more intellectual people like yourself, Mr. Rocchio.
Also, give us 46 seconds of hockey time, and we will pass it over live to Blues Hub Postgame, who will take you for the next, Mike, they've been doing for a lot of these games, the next hour and a half of full hockey talk, depending on what happens. So we're just taking you up to the finish of this game, talking a little Cardinals baseball, because I got a carry and we're talking Cardinals baseball, and those things just, kind of work for the last 50 years.
Yeah, it would probably work a lot better if I had a Budweiser in my hand, just really, really paying homage to the history aspect of things. But I have no other thoughts. The Cardinals win 5-4. They sweep the doubleheader. Now we just gotta hope. We gotta hope the Blues hold on, and then it'll be a perfect night in St. Louis. For everybody here at Sports Hub STL, for Matthew Rocchio, I'm Stefan Caray. This has been the Cards Hub postgame show, brought to you by Hot Shots. All content here provided by DraftKings. The crown is yours. We'll see you tomorrow. Cardinals start a 3-game set against the Pirates as they inch closer to 500.